We are not a people who believe in the singularity of truth. So just in case, especially for those of you who are new here, Lincoln and I are going to provide like one of the 100 answers in this room to each question, knowing that all of whatever we say will be imperfect and incomplete. And part of the gift of this community is the centrality of the questions themselves and of the conversation we continue to have with one another. So that's the caveat. And we'll still have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you ready? Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be interesting with the mic heights.
Yeah, I know. I'll just, to be
Well,
toast.
we'll split the difference.
It's good for my back.
Okay. So we categorized the questions sort of broadly so that we could kind of, and we'll jump around.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. We categorized the questions broadly, and we will sort of jump around between categories. But these questions are amazing. I just want to put that out there that, like, y'all are some deep thinkers. This is great. How do you balance wanting to honor ancestral beliefs and traditions with a spiritual calling that may at times be at odds with it? For example, feeling called to Judaism with a Catholic family background.
A complicated question, yeah, and one that we wrestle with a lot. One of the things that is more that we're really honing in on in Unitarian Universalism and this faith tradition as a whole these days is how important pluralism is to us. It's one of our new 7, one of the words that encapsulates one of our new 7 values that we share. And it's one of the things that I think makes us, there's not that many traditions, there may not be any other tradition that centers religious pluralism in their religious tradition itself. So it's one of the gifts is that, like, this question of, like, can I do both, and how do I wrestle with where I come from and where I want to go? How do I do it in integrity without engaging in cultural misappropriation, which is, you know, the slippery slope that comes with can come with religious pluralism or with a spiritual seeking that differs from what you were given as a child. I think that those questions are the questions that we actually wrestle with here all the time, and you can find fellows here to do that with you. I would say that one of the things that one of our professors, Lincoln and I went to the same seminary, and one of our professors would say often is that there is, he would talk about fictions of purity, that, like, there is no pure. That's just a fiction. There's nothing in the world that ever has been or ever will be pure. So the idea that, like, I came from one thing and, like, that's the only thing that I can be part of is just not true. There's always been cultural mixing, there's been religious mixing, there's been people who've held multiple religious identities. And there's, I mean, how many of you would say that you hold kind of multiple religious leanings in this room alone? Yeah, so we hold them really openly here. There's tons of us who do that here. Those are actually held across traditions, but it's not allowed to be spoken in a lot of traditions, but it's always been there. It's been there with your ancestors as well as with whoever comes after us. So that's not like the clearest answer, but I would say, like, work alongside all the other people who are wrestling with that question here as you try to figure it out with integrity.
We had a lot of really penetrating social justice questions. This one spoke to me. I was raised to see and believe in an inner light or trust of God in all persons, but I cannot see any good in many people who hold power in this country today. How can I find the humanity in such vicious, hateful, and cruel people? Should I strive to do that? Or is the belief that all people have some good in them just the wrong belief? And there are many similar, yes. A lot of you will hear your voices in that question.
Yeah, I'll just say really quickly, I think in my sense is, as a Unitarian Universalist, I can believe in your inherent worth and dignity as a human being without believing in the inherent worth and dignity of every opinion you hold. And your humanity and your rhetoric aren't always the same thing.
Can I just add one other thing, is that I often feel like we're taught to, especially when our theology says there is inherent worth and dignity of every person, which I do believe. I think that actually is the right belief. We spend a lot of time trying to like see it in the oppressor, when like maybe just don't focus on that. Like maybe just focus on building community and building movements with other people who are being oppressed to just try to change the oppression. Like we don't like, it's giving more attention to someone who is oppressing you. And I think that that's often true of abusers too. I know that this question is, we're talking about political sphere, but sometimes we wrestle with that with someone who's caused us deep personal harm. Sometimes like it's okay to just be like, someone else can handle that question. What I'm gonna do is try to heal myself. What I'm gonna try to do is build a movement to end that oppression.
This is another one that came up in various forms multiple times. Is it more important to be comforted or to be challenged by membership in the congregation? What does it mean to be a largely affluent white congregation in the middle of a very poor, very not white city? How can we deal with that?
How can we deal with it? I think the biggest way we can deal with it is by living our values out loud. For me, it is oftentimes having a strong sense of who we are, what we are, and why we're doing it is an important way of inviting other people in that aren't here. Oftentimes, Unitarian Universalism can feel like a feel-good liberal social club, and oftentimes what's missing is the depth of the why you're sitting in the room, right? Not just because we're a welcoming place, but we're welcoming because our history has demanded it. Our history has said, wait, there's people missing from this room. Let's go get them. So what can we do by embodying our faith to be in a way where people that aren't in this room want to be here?
Yeah, because oppression doesn't also just live out there. Like it's also, institutionalized oppression is in this congregation as much as it is in any other place. So we need to work to dismantle it here, because there's not like, the values that this community holds are not only values of people who have the average level of education in this congregation, or the average racial identity, or the average level of wealth. The values that we hold transcend, I think all categories, but often the culture that we hold, the way that we talk, the way that we communicate with each other, who we dismiss in the room, those things are about the oppression that we hold here, and that is our job to dismantle.
We found a lot of questions that are looking outward, as you'll see as we go, rather than examining our own navels about some of these issues, and this is one of them. Shouldn't our congregation be more active in regard to Gaza? A sermon, more discussion? I think Mount Airy, Germantown, and the Quakers are more vocal and visible in this issue. Is this a third rail issue for us? Too hot to handle? Also, perhaps more action on immigration.
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's one of the, I think the question is I don't know if third whale is exactly the right metaphor, but obviously it is a very complicated question for, I think, everybody in the United States and around the world. I really am grateful for Rev's leadership this past year in taking us further out into the streets and speaking more vocally around what's happening in Gaza. And I think that there's a lot more to do. We have not yet, so what happened, the way that things happen in this congregation, we're a democratic congregation, is that people come together and organize and say, like, let's start working on this. So if you are someone who wants to organize a, like, First You in support of Gaza group, let's do it, because that's how we get things done. It's not just top-down leadership. It comes from those of us who are here. And I mean, it is, I know it's particular, I know it's very complicated for lots of Jewish communities and lots of us who hold Jewish identity as well as our UU identity here. But I think that there shouldn't be anything that should be not able to be spoken about, because it's not that there isn't deep trauma in all kinds of religious communities and all kinds of people's identities, and just because there's kind of trauma everywhere in the world, and certainly in Jewish identity as well as in Palestinian identity, doesn't mean that we can't take action against atrocity. So.
We also had some practical questions. One of which was, what books or other resources help provide you hope or inspiration with regards to social justice and spirituality?
Can I answer that question?
Yes, please.
I always like to start with Unitarian Universalist history because I'm sitting in the room and it drives my passions. So I'm always going to recommend A People's History of Unitarian Universalism by Reverend John Burens. It came out in like 2012. It's a little old, but it's up to date. It has a chronology of our faith's involvement in American political history. And it really just inspires you to be in a sense that, like this congregation's been here 229 years. And in that 229 years, we have advocated for science, abolition, suffrage, LGBTQ rights, the peace movement, nuclear nonproliferation. We are an institution of our own history, so hope for me is found right here. I would also look at things like Cathedral of the World or Love at the Center. Those are both Unitarian Universalist books that give me a sense of hope and increase my imagination.
We got lots of questions. There's a million. Ask each other. You all have great ideas. Join a Reading for Resistance group. This is like where we find it with each other.
This one speaks to our own personal accountability, this question, and we had several similar to this. What can I do as a member of this community? What can I do as a member of this community to make the world a better place? How do we use our principles in practice to bring about change?
Anybody have? Rev just shared with me that we actually do have a group of people working on Gaza as part of the JME, which is Justice in the Middle East chapter in the Philly area. So talk to Rev afterwards for that particular way to make change. What can we do as a member of this congregation to make change in the world? I would say become part of one of the justice groups. We ascribe to a community organizing method of doing justice work. We think that the people have the power, and it's not really just raising awareness so much as like harnessing the power of the hundreds of people who are part of this community for social change out in the world. We do that alongside interfaith communities with Power Interfaith and with the New Sanctuary Movement, which is a justice-focused, it's a immigration justice-focused interfaith movement. So there's lots of opportunities to participate in the decarceration team is an incredible team that works against mass incarceration. I would say that that's one of the biggest groups, or biggest ways to be of use in the wider world. It can feel like, oh, we're doing meetings, or oh, like what I'm being asked to do is tell my story. How does that have to do with me participating in justice in the wider world? But the work of not just like asking leaders to give to give concessions to the people, but like actually organizing ourselves together to say like this is what the world needs, and we're both going to practice it here, and we're going to build collective power towards making it happen in the wider world. That's how we do it here. So I would totally encourage everyone to join one of the justice groups here as a first step. What'd you say? Yes, speak out like the babies among us. Amen. Yeah, what's the best way? I would say the e-beacon, which is our weekly newsletter, lists the stuff that's coming up coming up next. But also there's ways of getting involved. I'm not sure that the website actually has the best place with. There's a Discord channel. Yeah. Rev, why don't you answer?
We have over 12 different social justice groups,
Yeah.
and there's a Google form that you fill out and you select all the social justice.
Okay, great, and that's easy to find on the website. I should have scanned through the entire website this morning.
Yeah, we're working on the website.
Yeah.
E-beacon.
Okay, yes, so in the e-beacon or shortly on the website, you should be able to fill out the Google form that indicates your interest that will get you connected with one of the groups.
Or you can start small and join the tech team.
Can we do one more? Okay, so we had one category that we labeled fun. And this one, I don't know, I like this one a lot. If you could ask, oh, thank you. If you could ask anyone currently alive to come give us a sermon and lead us in worship for one Sunday, who would you choose and why?
I don't know, Adrienne Marie Brown would be mine. Those of you, she's just one of the most transformative thinkers in this day and age that I know. Adrienne Marie Brown. Cole Arthur Riley, another transformative thinker. What'd you say?
Stacey Abrams.
Here, everyone pass them around. Let's each give our answer.
Okay. Mine was Stacey Abrams. I just think she's amazing.
Michael Steele.
Michael Steele.
Oh my goodness, on the spot. I'm gonna say, yeah, I have 1,000. Let's say Reverend William Barber with the Poor People's Campaign.
We keep trying to get Reverend William Barber here. He comes in with his voice sometimes to some of our events. He talks to us. He knows who we are. He loves us, but he has not been here in person yet. So.
Is that it? I think so.
All right.
That's it. We're going to wrap.
Thank you all. So again, we're collecting the remainder of these. I get to keep them. I have them from years past, and I've been sorting through them this week. And it helps, Rev and I in particular will use them to help feed our worship inspiration for the coming year alongside your worship associates. So thank you all. And if your question didn't get answered in the service, I invite you to ask it of somebody in coffee hour afterwards and see what they say. Okay. Hi. I'm Reverend Abbey Tennis, and I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Reverend Alexandre da Silva Soto, and my pronouns are they, them, and theirs.
And we are the ministers of the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia, where it is our mission to awaken love and justice in our lives and in the world. We're so glad you watched this video, and we hope that its message connects with your soul.
We also want to invite you to join us for Zoom services Sunday morning at 11 a.m. or come in person at 2125 Chestnut Street, Center City, Philadelphia.
Whether you join in person or online, in these services you'll hear messages like you just heard. You'll get a chance to sing together, pray together, and even greet one another in coffee hour afterwards, whether you're brand new or a longtime member.
You can always find a Zoom link to our services and more about what to expect on Sunday mornings on our website, philauu.org. The link is below.
If you are connecting with this message and feel moved to give to the mission of this congregation, we invite you to click on the link below again and follow the prompts to give, or send a text message to 709-5095. And again, follow the prompts.
If someone in your life needs to hear these words today, please share this video. And again, thank you so much for watching.
We hope to see you soon.
See you soon.